It starts with a suburban morning routine. A luxury SUV pulls out of a driveway. Five children are dropped off at a prestigious private school, and a mother drives back home into her garage. She presses the button, the garage door closes, and Jennifer Dulos vanishes from the face of the earth. At first, this looks like a missing persons case in one of the safest and wealthiest towns in America. But investigators would eventually come to believe something much darker had happened inside that garage. This was not a random disappearance. According to prosecutors, this was a carefully planned killing carried out by someone Jennifer knew extremely well. A man who built luxury homes for a living and allegedly used that same world of wealth, privacy, and construction to help cover up the crime. This is the masked reality of Jennifer Dulos. May 2019, New Canaan, Connecticut. To anyone looking from the outside, Jennifer Farber Dulos appeared to have an almost perfect life. Her family was wealthy and well-connected. They founded a successful New York brokerage firm, and Jennifer herself was highly educated, a talented writer, and a devoted mother to 5 children, including 2 sets of twins. Her husband, Fotis Dulos, was a charismatic luxury home builder from Greece who constructed massive custom estates for wealthy clients across Connecticut. They lived in one of the richest towns in America, surrounded by country clubs, private schools, and sprawling mansions hidden behind trees and security gates. From the outside, they looked like the definition of success. Lavish vacations, luxury vehicles, dinner parties, beautiful homes. But behind that image, their marriage was collapsing. By 2017, their relationship had fallen into a bitter and deeply personal divorce battle. Jennifer discovered that Fotis was involved in an affair with a woman named Michelle Troconis, and according to court records, the custody fight over the children became increasingly hostile. Jennifer eventually left the family home with the children and moved into a rental property in New Canaan. In court filings, she wrote words that investigators and the public would later revisit again and again. "I am terrified of my husband." She also claimed that Fotis had threatened to take their children to Greece, where she would never see them again. And as the divorce continued, investigators would later start wondering just how far Fotis was willing to go to stop it. To understand the pressure building around Fotis Dulos, investigators also had to follow the money. His luxury home building company, Group, looked successful from the outside, but behind the scenes, the company was struggling financially. Lawsuits were piling up, debt was mounting, and Jennifer's family estate was suing him over millions of dollars connected to business loans and real estate deals. Investigators later argued that Fotis's public image was becoming harder and harder to maintain. His reputation, his business, and his financial future were all tied to the appearance of success. And the divorce threatened to expose how unstable things had actually become. Then came the multi-million-dollar catalyst. Investigators discovered that Jennifer's 5 children were the sole beneficiaries of a massive $10 million trust fund established by her family. If Fotis could paint Jennifer as an unstable mother in court and win custody, he would gain control of that massive pool of wealth to save his collapsing business. Meanwhile, Fotis moved Michelle Troconis and her daughter into the Farmington mansion Jennifer had just left behind. Pause. Shacking up with your girlfriend while you're going through a messy divorce and custody battle may not be the smartest idea. Witnesses later described the atmosphere inside the home as tense, obsessive, and increasingly focused on Jennifer. In a shocking detail revealed in court, Fotis' divorce mediator testified that Fotis' ultimate goal was to force Jennifer, the 5 kids, and his girlfriend Michelle to all live under one roof. He wanted to project the public mask of a perfect, blended family, completely ignoring the torment it would cause. Instead, the house became a planning room. Investigators believe Jennifer's daily schedule and routines were being monitored closely. Drop-off times, travel routes, moments when she would be alone. And in hindsight, prosecutors would later argue that the planning had already begun. By May 24th, 2019, investigators believe the plan was in motion. Pause. If you're liking this content and enjoy the deep dives, please remember to like, share, and subscribe. Let's get back into it. May 24th, 2019. Jennifer drops her children off at New Canaan Country School at approximately 8 a.m. She drives her black Chevy Suburban back to her home on Wells Lane. Surveillance footage captures her vehicle pulling into the driveway around 8:05 a.m. That was the last confirmed sighting of Jennifer Dulos alive. Later that day, friends became concerned after she missed scheduled appointments in New York City and stopped responding to calls and messages. By that evening, she was officially reported missing. When police first entered the home, everything appeared calm. The kitchen looked untouched. Nothing appeared broken. There were no immediate signs of forced entry. At first glance, the house looked normal, but then investigators entered the garage. The concrete floor appeared clean, but when forensic investigators sprayed the garage with luminol, the area lit up. Investigators later concluded that Jennifer had suffered a violent assault inside that garage shortly after returning home. Blood evidence was found on the walls, on the floor, and underneath her vehicle. Investigators also discovered evidence that someone had attempted to clean the scene extensively using bleach and other cleaning materials. According to prosecutors, the evidence suggested Jennifer's body had been removed from the garage shortly after the attack. Then another discovery changes the case completely. A bloody sock is found in a storm drain area several miles away. Testing later confirms it contains Jennifer's blood. And now investigators know something important. Whoever committed this crime didn't just kill Jennifer, they tried to erase her. Investigators quickly began tracking the movements of Fotis Dulos' Ford Raptor through cell phone data, GPS records, and city surveillance footage. That evidence eventually led the police to Hartford, Connecticut, far from the quiet wealth of New Canaan. But police immediately noticed a physical transformation. When Fotis met with the police right after Jennifer vanished, his head was completely shaved. Surveillance footage from Albany Avenue soon revealed why. He had altered his appearance to avoid matching old descriptions or leaving hair fibers behind. The footage shows Fotis Dulos slowly driving through the city with Michelle Traconis sitting in the passenger seat. He repeatedly stops the truck, gets out, walks to the public trash cans, and throws away black contractor bags. Then he drives to another location and repeats the process over and over again. Investigators race to recover the bags before garbage collection removes them. And inside those bags, they find the evidence that changes everything. Blood-soaked clothing, cleaning supplies, zip ties, sponges stained with blood, cut up license plates, and clothing belonging to Jennifer Dulos. Forensic testing later confirmed that Jennifer's blood was found throughout the recovered evidence. Investigators concluded the amount of blood loss would have been unsurvivable. And sitting beside Fotis during the disposal runs was Michelle Troconis. As investigators continued building the case, they began focusing heavily on the timelines provided by Fotis and Michelle. Both claimed they were together for much of the day Jennifer disappeared, but detectives soon began finding inconsistencies. During a search of the Farmington property, investigators discovered documents later referred to as alibi scripts. The documents contained detailed timelines describing what Fotis and Michelle supposedly did throughout the day. Phone calls, meals, property visits, specific errands. Investigators believe the documents had been created to help coordinate their stories ahead of questioning. And when police compared those timelines to surveillance footage and phone records, parts of the story began falling apart. During multiple police interviews, Michelle Troconis changed aspects of her accounts several times. Eventually, investigators say forensic evidence linked both her and Fotis to cleanup efforts connected to the crime. In January 2020, as prosecutors prepared to move forward with murder charges, Fotis Dulos was released on bond. Days later, police responded to his Farmington home after he failed to appear for a scheduled court hearing. Investigators found him inside the garage suffering from carbon monoxide poisoning in what authorities determined was a suicide attempt. He later died at the hospital. Before his death, Fotis left behind a note claiming he was innocent, but his death did not end the investigation. Instead, attention shifted heavily towards Michelle Troconis, and other prosecutors believe she may have helped after the crime. During Michelle's trial, prosecutors argued that she knowingly participated in the disposal of evidence and helped support a false alibi. Her defense maintained she had been manipulated and did not know the full extent of what had happened. But prosecutors pointed repeatedly to surveillance footage, forensic evidence, and the timeline inconsistencies. Eventually, the jury reached a verdict. Michelle Troconis was convicted on multiple charges, including conspiracy to commit murder, tampering with evidence, and hindering prosecution. But even after the convictions, one devastating question still remained unanswered. Jennifer Dulos' body has never been found. Investigators searched wooded areas, construction sites, private properties, and bodies of water connected to Fotis Dulos. Nothing. Years later, Jennifer's 5 children still do not know where their mother was left. As of 2026, Michelle Troconis remains incarcerated while continuing to fight her convictions through the appeals process. Her legal team argues that her rights were violated during questioning and that prosecutors failed to prove she had direct knowledge of a murder plot. In early 2026, she underwent a dramatic 3-day habeas corpus trial in court, aggressively fighting for a new trial. By claiming her first attorney provided ineffective, unconstitutional counsel by allowing her to talk to investigators without an immunity deal. At the same time, another figure connected to the investigation also drew major attention. Attorney Kent Maloney. Maloney, a close friend and attorney connected to Fotis Dulos, had been accused by prosecutors of helping facilitate aspects of the alleged cover-up. But instead of facing a major murder conspiracy trial, he later accepted a reduced plea agreement, pleading guilty under the Alford Doctrine to a misdemeanor charge of interfering with police. Because of time already served, he avoided additional jail time, though a judge ultimately suspended his license to practice law. For Jennifer's family, the legal outcome still left major questions unresolved. Because despite arrest, convictions, and years of investigations, the most important piece of this case is still missing: Jennifer herself. Jennifer Dulos was a mother of 5 who believed she had escaped a dangerous marriage. She moved into a quiet New Canaan home, hoping to protect herself and her children, while navigating a brutal divorce and custody battle. And then one morning, inside a quiet garage in one of the wealthiest towns in America, she disappeared. Sometimes the most dangerous situations don't happen in dark alleyways or isolated places. Sometimes they happen behind expensive gates, luxury vehicles, and carefully maintained appearances. And years later, Jennifer's family is still left with the same unanswered question: where is she? The mask eventually fell, but the truth was buried with it. May Jennifer Dulos continue to rest in peace. Stay safe.